Provided the questions, and we go to God's Word for the answers. Our first question, who is the Queen of Heaven? Jeremiah chapter 7 and verses 17 and 18 read, "Do you not see what they are doing in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead dough to make cakes for the Queen of Heaven, and they pour out drink offerings to other gods in order to spite me." Here the people were receiving a message through Jeremiah from God, and it was at the temple gate in Jerusalem. And the title that is given here, Queen of Heaven, has nothing to do with the God Jehovah, but it's a title given to a god called Astarte, imported from the Assyrians and Babylonians, and which the Jews had begun to worship. If we go to 2 Kings chapter 23, we find ourselves in the chapter which describes King Josiah's reforms. And there we also hear of the host of heaven 2 times. And this once again is a description, and it is something that Josiah fought and struck out very strongly against in his time of reforms. The Queen of Heaven was a foreign deity. Our second question, if I think same-sex marriage is sinful, am I judging and disobeying Matthew chapter 7 verse 1? Matthew 7 verse 1 is right in the midst of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, and it reads, "Do not judge so that you will not be judged." And then the second verse, "For in the way you judge, you will be judged." Jesus here is not calling us to carelessness in thought or action, but rather away from a harsh and mean-spirited condemnation of others. Over and over again, the Scriptures call us to be wise and discerning. At the very conclusion of this chapter 7 of Matthew, we have Jesus saying that there were 2 builders. One was wise and one was foolish. One built his house upon the rock and one built his house upon the sand. Well, through stories like this and through parables and proverbs and straight-out teaching, again and again the Bible tells us to be wise, to discern between that which pleases God and that which does not, that which is of faith and that which is not. Paul in Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 6 says, "Let no one deceive you," and in 2 Timothy chapter 3:13 talks about evil men and impostors proceeding from bad to worse, deceiving and being deceived. No, you are not judging. You are not disobeying Matthew 7 verse 1. Our third question, what are the treasures of darkness? And here we go to Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 3. Let me read that one verse. "I will give you the treasures of darkness and hidden wealth of secret places, so that you may know that it is I, the Lord, the God of Israel, who calls you by your name." Here we have a prophecy directed to a king who had not yet been even born, who had not yet certainly come to power. And the answer is that here are physical riches of this world, which would unmistakably point to the power of God in granting victory to King Cyrus. King Cyrus would overpower the Babylonians, and there were undoubtedly vast riches, vast storehouses, like an underground Fort Knox of treasures that the Babylonians had amassed. God is saying, I will give that to you. I will give you that physical wealth, obtained by hook and by crook, by vicious means at times. I will give that to you, but the lesson is a spiritual one. And here Cyrus was to have his eyes opened that the God of Israel was the one who is all-powerful and mighty. Thank you for each of these questions. I trust they have been a help to you. If you have a question, please Write it out and send it to us at Faith to Live By, Box 426, Winnipeg, Manitoba, R3C2H6. Now Tim Sturby comes to sing for us Wonderful Grace.